Yeah. You just gotta hold on. 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 Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta hold on.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Back at it again. Back at it again.
Back
with
at
the
it
white
again with the
vans,
white
Daniel.
and cream vans.
What's poppin'? My socks say. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
It's cool.
It's
Oh, and it's
popcorn.
popcorn. What's popping?
I'm done.
What's
I did that
popping
on
is the
purpose.
popcorn.
It's
did that on
popcorn.
purpose.
I used
That's
to love
cute.
socks.
Wow.
Wow.
Perfect.
That's,
used to have-
that's dope.
I'll have socks that cater to each podcast.
I am dead. You just put pressure on yourself. Right? See?
Yeah, but I can't find socks. I
Right.
can't find socks.
We
I
can't do it.
Whole
can't do
outfit
it.
together, and she running around trying to find socks.
Scratch that. Maybe
I
not.
mean, literally, you was about to have sock followers.
Yeah.
I mean, people was gonna be
Right.
just like
What
ready to
socks
see
you
your
got
what
on
she
socks.
got on today?
I mean, they gonna have
She's gonna have
fuzzies.
stressed.
Wow.
Oh, God.
What's up, y'all?
What's
so,
up?
What's going on?
jumping in here. Welcome to the Who Are We podcast. It's your boy Marcus.
It's KC.
This is your boy Dre Sean.
Wow. I'm
Wow.
Chalese.
That was real. Like,
I'm Chalese. Yeah, that was
very,
real. Actress.
I love
Yeah,
it.
like I was
Do it again, babe.
This is your boy Dre Sean.
like I wasn't sure if like we were at a theater play,
Right, Broadway,
or,
Broadway.
or if we were like or if like the mic dropped down in the wrestling ring. Like,
Yeah.
let's get ready to rumble. I was real confused about what was happening. Like,
Yeah, I was too. I didn't want to introduce myself after that.
She said,
I'm Chalese. I don't
even
know
matter
what to
anymore
say.
at this point.
That was a lot.
I like your daddy hat.
You know, new daddy, gotta,
When you get that, I ain't never seen that before.
So, somebody from the church got me this for
Okay.
Christmas. I
Merry
appreciate
Christmas.
it, bruh. Appreciate it.
Merry
Okay.
Christmas.
Merry
Okay.
Christmas.
Yeah.
New dad.
Yeah.
New dad. If y'all don't know, Dre and Kia a few months ago had their first son.
Yes.
Braden. We love him.
Yes.
Brayden.
He's like all of our
Yes.
all of our
He
babies.
is.
Right. 4 months. Going on 5.
How's it going?
Well, it's going.
Okay.
I'm just playing. Nah, I mean, like Braden just changing our whole world right now. Like seriously, like he's just a whole lot. But it's pretty cool to see like his personality coming in. Like I can see Kid, I can see myself. Like he goes from being happy to looking at you like this. Like he's just mugging, examining the room, like, and then he'll look at you like, "Who are you?"
Yes.
Who
Like-
are we?
Right. Like seriously. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, Braden is pretty cool. What you think, babe?
It's been good. Definitely at 4 months it's gotten easier. But it was hard starting out, man. Like, oh my God, just
No sleep.
no sleep. But not even that, just going from being single, or not single, but just it being you and I, and how our lives are just on the go. We literally had to take a whole heartbreak. And so like trying to slowly jump back into like our new normal. Braden has switched up a lot, but
Yes,
I
he
love
did.
him.
Of course.
I mean, but I really want to hear from the perspective of Marcus and Chalese, because you guys don't know, but they really help us with Braden a whole lot. Chalese actually keeps Braden, I think, on Mondays and Tuesdays, correct? Like, so what's that been like for you?
I
now going
always
back?
say it's funny because I think one of me and Kia's first conversations was at someone's birthday party, and she was like, "No, I don't want kids. I don't think I'll ever want kids. I don't." You know how Kia's very matter of fact. Like her perspective at that moment is gonna be lifetime. And so she was just like, yep, I don't think I'll ever want kids. And I was like, it'll change. She's like, no, I don't want kids. And now I've asked her, and she's like, I cannot imagine life without Braden. Like, she's like, he's so perfect. Which, of course, all parents think their kids are perfect when they're babies and infants and stuff. But I think it's been amazing to see how y'all's lives has changed, because they still make sure that they maintain their marriage and have times on their own. But Braden is definitely a very easy baby, is what I consider, and I think he is very easy. Not have like a lot of, some people have medical problems with their kids and things like that, and so we've been blessed
Yes.
to not have any issues. Like, he doesn't have those things. Some people's babies have crying spells where they never stop crying. They just, there's nothing you can do to console them, and so Braden is very mild mannered, to my opinion. He's very mild mannered. So,
God, Daddy.
Yes,
For
Braden
those that
is
don't
my
know.
godson. Love him so much. Yeah, I mean, to me, Braden's chill. I mean, he's very chill. He's not one of those kids, like, kind of like what Chalese was saying. Like, he just cries when he needs something. It's not like you're just crying for no reason. You're sleepy, you're hungry, you need your diaper changed, something, and then you're just gonna be sitting and chilling. To me, obviously, we don't see all the time like y'all do every single night. Like, if he wakes up, if he does this, if he does that. But I love him. I think we were actually chilling together, all of us, the other day, and we were just looking at pictures and looking how drastically he's changed just in a matter of like small months or small amount of months. So yeah, so he's chill.
He's growing, and we are blessed that he is healthy.
Yes.
Because, obviously that was our biggest prayers, is that he comes out fully together, whole, but also healthy.
Right.
And he's been, for the most part, been healthy. Of course, like, he was born in the midst of like these up and down weather changes, going into the winter months. And, obviously that's always a concern, but, he's been healthy throughout the whole process pretty much, and not having like serious health issues, maybe a cold here and there, which is very common, but he's been great. And I will say this, let me say it like this. I understand love to a whole nother level now, a whole nother level, because like, obviously, I love my wife dearly. Like, she is my world, However, it's like when Braden came in the picture, it's like, this is a new type of love that I never experienced before. I never even knew that I was going to be able to love somebody like this. And I would literally give up my life for him. Like, I mean that wholeheartedly. And now I understand even the love that God has for us, because it's just like, man, like, I understand that now. Like, we gonna do anything and everything we can for our child. And it's just been incredible. Like, so yeah, it's been an amazing journey.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Love Bray. Shout out to Bray.
Shout
We're
out
gonna
to
go back and
Bray.
watch
Thank
this
you
one day.
Right.
But yeah, hey, shout out to y'all again too. Our supporters, our followers. Thank y'all
Episode 2.
Yes.
watching. Yeah, this is episode 2 of Who Are We podcast. Hopefully you know a little bit about us already after watching the first episode. Why you laughing?
Just thinking back, man.
Just reminiscing, thinking back. So yeah, hopefully you've learned a little bit about us, and you will continue to go on this journey with us. Again, thank y'all for sharing, subscribing, liking our pages on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube page. Again, if you haven't turned alerts on already, make sure you do that. We'll remind y'all again at the end of the podcast, but we're going to go ahead and jump on into it.
So I also want to thank everyone who jumped on our live posts, our last episode. I want to just bring that up. We showed you guys our last episode last month. Y'all jumped on to our live when we talked about the episode. I just want to thank everyone who was on that. We're going to do that every episode. So after this episode airs, we're going to do a live, and we want to make sure everyone jumps on those lives to interact with us, ask us questions, talk about things that they hated that I said, because I know some people are going to have some things to hate what I said, and just all that. So I want to thank everyone for jumping onto our live after our
Yes.
last episode. It was a great time. So this topic stems from my job. So I work at a warehouse, and I have, some 300 plus associates on every shift, and there's multiple shifts in the building on every day. But every shift has about 300 associates, and we have a very diverse range of age of people who work in the building. And I had an interaction, and I actually had an interaction yesterday. Well, initially we had a different discussion about this topic. I was using a different situation, but yesterday I had an interaction. A young man who was working, he was on the clock. It was probably an hour into the shift, so it means we have a couple hours left. We do 4-hour shifts, and he walks off and goes into the break room. So I try to give people a moment, like maybe he had to get some water, maybe he had to get a little snack. Maybe he wasn't feeling good. People have diabetes. You never know, right? So I try to give people a moment. Like, there's no bathroom in our break room. So I can clearly tell he's not going to the restroom. So I went away and did something else. I came back. I saw he still wasn't there. So I asked the supervisor in the area, hey, is that guy still in the break room? Like, yeah. It's been now like 10 minutes. So I waited I got caught up and did something else. Like 5 minutes now has gone by. I go in the break room. I look around. There's a lady sitting on the counter in the break room behind this wall. So like she's hidden on a phone. I look at her and I'm like, she's like, I had to make an important phone call. I said, okay, hurry up. Right? I didn't even know she was in there. She was just in there. Then I come around, I'm looking for this guy. He's like tucked behind this wall on a phone. And I'm like, I called his name. I said, what are you doing? Oh, my brother called me. We had to talk about something real quick. I said, get back on the floor like that. And he's like, oh, my bad. We was just chopping it up after he hung up with his brother. I'm going to call you right. He said, I'm going to call you right back. I said, no, tell him you're going to call back after you get off work. Like, you're at work. I said, tell them not to call you while you're at work. And he's like, I'll just call him back on my break. I said, no, this was your break. So when we released everyone to go on break, this was your break because you've been in here for 15 minutes. It's been that long. I said, look at your call. His call was actually 22 minutes. He was in there longer than I thought.
Wow.
Just on the phone, just chopping it up with his brother, getting paid. Right? And so.
Still in time.
Now, I can't fire him for that at my company. I can write him up. I didn't put a write-up in because I used it as an opportunity to coach him. And we had about a 20-minute conversation after the shift was over about, like, do you need this job? And I thought maybe he didn't. He's like, yeah, I do. I got another job. I said, oh, so you don't need this job? He's like, no, I do need this job. And I'm like, so what are you doing? Because every day, I had just delivered him a first written warning. Because a couple days before, someone caught him with AirPods in his ear. Working in a warehouse. AirPods are unsafe because if someone's coming with a pallet jack and they say, excuse me, or get out the way, you can't hear. Someone's coming with a forklift, you can't hear. So it's unsafe. Right. And so I'm like, so are you trying to get fired? No, I'm just, I'm just trying to work. That was his response. I'm just trying to work. And I'm like, well, that means you actually have to work, and so the topic is there's a lot of people in my building that I deal with on every day. And we see it at restaurants, and we see it at Popeyes, and we see it at gas stations where I walk up and I ask you for, your opening register for change, and you have an attitude with me. Or I ask you for a straw at Wendy's, and you act like I'm asking something that's inconvenient to you. And you're at work. And I'm finding that this is happening with a lot of people. I would say it seems like, this is my perspective, 35 and under. And so what has happened in our culture today that has caused this generation, and I could explain to you which generation that is because we say millennials, but actually we're millennials, right. All of us up until like 40 something. But it's the generation beneath us as well as our generation of people feeling entitled, like people owe them something, like they deserve the right to work and do what they want at work. Like, what has happened that has caused this generation to not take pride in their work, not take pride in how they represent themselves, how they look, how they sound, how they interact with people? Like, what has happened?
That's good.
A lot.
My goodness.
A lot has happened.
I mean, I think for one, people don't know who they are. That's number one. Number two, with that being said, if you don't know who you are, chances are you don't know your purpose. And so people are just trying to find themselves and discover themselves. And through that process, people are just like, I mean, I just my motivation is make money, but I really don't want to do what I'm doing. Like, I want to make money. I want to, get a check. But what I am doing right now, I don't see any, like, ending goal to this. Like, I don't see... I don't see myself doing this long term, or I don't even know why I am here other than the fact that I just want to check. And it's like, so you go through these imbalances of emotions, and it's just like, man, you don't really care. You don't really care because you don't know where you're going. You don't care because you don't know your purpose. And furthermore, you don't care because you don't understand that you representing your family. You're representing, like, your mom and your dad. And so those things, I do believe that is probably one of the top three, I would say, of why that generation is so, like, just disengaged when they at work, or whatever the case, whatever the case they're doing or whatever. So that's what I think.
This can be unpacked in so many different levels.
Right.
A lot of different levels. And so I really don't even know where I'm about to start. And I may come back. We may jump back and forth.
Right.
But one thing that I guess I'll say is that I feel and I believe, oh, man, it's so much. It's so much. Because I'm the same as Chalese. I manage in a warehouse as well, in supply work and supply chain. And so I see that as well. I see it often. But the thing is, too, I also see other people the same age that are a complete 180.
Yes.
That are complete opposite.
Yes.
That have drive to work, that are focused, that come in on time, that are ready to do, like, when you ask them to do something, there's no attitude.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, I got you. Let me know, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. Other people, I'm like, you realize you're at work, right? Like, you do realize, like, when you came in and put your little numbers in or scanned your badge, like, you started getting money, right?
Right.
And so, and when you did
Maybe
the
you're
interview,
confused.
right, and you're confused, when you did the interview, you got all of the information about what this job entailed. And you
Right.
signed the paper or whatever the case is, and you came to orientation, and you're here to work.
Right.
So I'm just confused why you feel like you get the right to have an attitude when someone asks you to do your job.
To work while you're at work.
While you're at work.
Work is-
It's not your off day.
Literally.
You didn't come in on an off day. This is your schedule.
That you asked for.
Yeah.
That you
like,
chose.
why are you upset? And so, digressing and going back, I think wholeheartedly, in an instance, it has to do a lot with how people are raised.
Right.
my point.
And who is around them.
That's
Yeah.
good.
If you don't have people or didn't have people in your life who instilled certain principles in
Yeah.
you and who instilled certain values in you, it's going to carry on into your adult life.
Right.
That's why I've literally talked with someone before about people being stuck or trapped in a stage of life.
Yeah. Wow.
Because a traumatic experience happened
Yep.
to them
Yeah.
in that age, or something happened to them where they no longer know how to progress as an adult. And so whenever they get in situations that bring up those principles or bring up those values or bring up me having to act out, whatever the case is, whether it's working, whether I never got the right fundamentals of how to work, like, you can get those sorry, let me slow down, because I get real passionate.
Excited.
But you can get those principles on how to work as a child.
Right.
That doesn't mean you have to have a job, but hey, we're going to go outside for 1 hour and we're going to cut the grass. We're going to learn how to cut the grass. I'm going to show you how to use the lawnmower. I'm going to show you should go this way and not like this because it'll make waves in the grass and you have to do a 180 rotation to come back this way. I can teach you that as a child. Whether you get paid for it or not, I'm instilling those principles in you. You learn timeliness.
Right.
You learn how to prepare to do something. You learn how to actually do something, and you learn how to finish a job all the way through.
Right.
That's very simple principles, but there's so much that goes into it. But I think it comes down to not just that, but have these principles been instilled in you on how to operate and function?
That's good.
And so I talked to the gentleman for quite a while, and I said to him, if you were my son, I would have fired you.
Right.
Right? Because I know what I've instilled in my child. I tell my associates all the time, if my kids worked here, the stuff that y'all get away with, they would never. Because I would expect more out of my children who are at this age, could outwork you at 9, 8, and 14.
Right.
And it's I think a lot to do with who raised you, whether you have a mom or dad, an aunt, grandma, you're adopted, whoever. But I also feel like some people focus on raising polite kids because some of them are very respectful. They're just lazy, right? The guy he apologized. He wasn't rude or anything. They're raising polite kids. And I feel like as a parent, sometimes we do things because of how we were raised. We do things opposite, right? So if I didn't get much of anything growing up, like my parents were poor or broke, whatever, I may work hard and have lots of money, and now I've given my kids everything. They don't have to work for it. When they go to school, I don't instill like a teacher. Let's say a teacher sends home a note and says that they're talking. I don't necessarily discipline them because maybe I was beat by my parents growing up, right? And so now I've gone to the far extreme, and I'm raising these kids because of issues that I've had in my past that don't instill hard work, because maybe I was raised in a house where I had to work for my family business, which I did, but I'm glad about it because it instilled so much hard work in me. But maybe I would have raised my kids and been opposite. Like now that they'll never have to work a day in their lives. 'Cause there's people who raise their kids that way. They'll never have to lift a finger a day in their lives. There's people who do that. And so what happens is we get these results in the workplace. And I'm sure you guys have interacted with the results. You've interacted with servers and different people. And it's like, I want to say to them, who raised you?
Right.
Like, who raised you to think it was appropriate to go off on me because I've asked you to do your job? You asked to be here.
Right.
Like, you
applied
asked
for.
Wendy's to let you come and work at the window.
Right.
Like, nobody forced you. You weren't enslaved, right?
Right.
Some employees will say that, oh, this is slave work.
Why are you here?
Well, no,
Right.
slaves didn't have a choice,
Right.
and they weren't paid, and they were beat,
Right.
right? You came to Wendy's or went online and filled out an application and probably got a bonus nowadays because they're
Right.
giving out bonuses for people working.
Went through an interview process and
Went
all
through
the
an
right
interview
things.
process, made sure that you said all the right things. Made sure your resume looked right. You went through all of that. You were excited. You went home and told your mom and dad, I got a job. And then you get there and you're mad about them asking you to work the whole shift. Oh, y'all want me to work the whole time? You're not going to give me no, y'all want me to work the whole time? Yeah, you have a break for that. But like, the perspective of that you're doing the company a favor. Like, that's where a lot of them have this idea. You're doing me a favor. You're doing Publix a favor by working for them. No, you can actually be replaced.
Right.
Right?
Real
Like,
quick.
everybody can be replaced, even the CEO. You see companies that CEOs quit, and then the next day, nothing has changed. The company still stands. Look at he passed away, and iPhones have never stopped.
Right.
Right? And so, like, I just want people to be like, where did this thought stem from?
Right.
That makes you feel like you're doing someone a favor for working for them. Because this is something you need. Like, you need to have a job to pay your bills. And so, like, where does this thought come from? That, like, you're doing the company a favor.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a lot. Like, so going into something that just sparked in my head when you were talking about that is, so I get I 100% understand, and y'all are about to see like what really ticks Marcus. You're gonna understand. But to me, that's a tick for me because yeah, you're not doing me a favor. I thank you.
Right.
Like I absolutely thank you. I
Right.
recognize you.
Yeah,
Like
celebrate
with
you,
my company.
right.
Yeah, we'll celebrate you. And even celebrate you not out of just because we have to do it, but just like we genuinely thank you for what you do. But again, you are replaceable. I'm replaceable.
Right.
Everyone is replaceable. Like the company is gonna go on
Regardless.
whether it's you or whether it's somebody else. I actually used to have this bad not habit. I can't think of the right word right now, but of thinking at work, wherever I was working at the time, if I wasn't there, then oh man, this isn't gonna go right, or this
Right.
isn't gonna happen, or whatever. And that very well may have been the case. It may
Right.
not have gone as smooth as if I would have been there,
Right.
or gone the way that I would have liked it to go, but it went on.
Right.
The world didn't stop, the world
Right.
didn't end. And so saying all that to say and bring it back, everybody's replaceable. And so you're not doing people a favor when you go to your job. You're helping them and you're helping the company because yes, they do need an employee, but it does not have to be you.
Right.
You asked to be that employee.
Right.
And so that's kind of where it jumps in there. But saying all that and going back to, I think as far as a company, whoever the company is, obviously how you treat your employees has a lot to do with how they function
Right.
and operate and move, but that still doesn't give me a right to just be upset to do my job. One thing, going back to recognition, that I want to say real quick, that I say all the time, and I say it being funny and whatever the case is, but there will be some people, and it's been multiple people who have walked with me and they know they've done something just really like they've loaded a truck and I happen to walk by and see it and they're like, yo, you saw how I loaded, you saw how I got all these items on, and I'm like, that's what's up, man. Like, you did that, man. I know I'm getting a recognition, man. I know I'm getting called out, and I literally laughingly say, thank you for doing your job.
Right.
Thank you for doing your
Right.
job.
But you're supposed to be doing.
Thank you so much.
But you know something about, back to the generation, and it's actually, the generation is called Millennials and Gen Z, from 1980 to 2012. So Gen Z is 95 to 2012, and Millennials are 1980 to 94. Gen Alpha is my little boys, Titus and Elijah, 2013 and on. But I feel like social media and the accessibility that we have to information, the accessibility that we have to people's lives that we never used to have, right? Like we have this idea that the spotlight is on me individually, right? I have 1,500 followers on social media, so people want to see my life, right? Or and so it's like, I am special. I deserve what everyone else has. I deserve recognition. I deserve and it's because we see that on people's pages. You look at people's social media page, it's full of themselves. It's full of pictures of themselves. It's full of pictures of all the good moments, all the great moments, but we're not seeing what it took to get to that place.
Right.
And so then it creates this idea that when you reach a certain status, financially, follower-wise, or whatever, that life is just always simple. And so people then want that. Like, people used to want to be a rapper, right? And they knew that it took all these hard steps. But now we're just seeing all these pictures, and we're thinking it's just, everything is just the way that you want it.
Overnight success.
And they're not seeing the struggles that go along with it, that it might have taken thousands of dollars and thousands of hours to create this one IG page, or millions of dollars, whatever, or millions of nights of not having anything to eat, or not sleeping, or, folding, whatever the case is, folding each individual clothes that they send out to the person who's bought it. And so people are seeing just the end product, and they're not recognizing or acknowledging or understanding maybe that the people who are successful, the people who are rich and famous, a lot of them are sleeping less than us. A lot of them are talking to less of their friends and spending less time with their family and spending more money on pouring out than they are receiving in, right? Because it's taking this, like our little stuff, right, that we're doing here on this podcast on a greater scale, right? And so while we may have taken, 4 hours a week on our creating this podcast, some people may spend 12 to 14 hours a week or a day creating their craft. And because we're in such an accessible environment, I think people are just seeing the end product. And maybe they're not taking into account, acknowledging, or they don't want to acknowledge the hard work that it takes. Because sometimes I'm telling people, I know you don't want to work here forever, like you talked about. This is not your end result. Right. But I tell them, how you work wherever you are is how you work. And so if you go start your own company, this is how you're going to, is this how you're going to treat your own company? Right. You don't get days off, right? You don't get to get paid for a day off of vacation when you start your own company. That's your money.
Right.
And so I think people are not aware, or they're choosing not to acknowledge all the steps that it takes to be successful in anything. Like in anything. It's not whether you want to sell drugs or whatever. You can't just be on the corner and just sell drugs. Like it takes a hustle. Right. It takes hard work. And so no matter what it is, whether it's a company or your own company or a rapper or a singer, it don't just happen. It takes hard work. And I think that our generation and the generation beneath us are not acknowledging of that.
That's why I believe that it's so important for you to understand where you are going.
Right.
Because if you understand where you are going, then this is training ground for you. Wherever you go, wherever company that you're working for, this is training ground. And you're looking at things from a different lenses. If you are saying, I want to be a boss one day.
Right.
So you as an employee, how are you making it less difficult for your boss? Because you're going to be in that same situation, and do you want another you in that position?
Right.
You don't want that. And so you want to be an example of your future self. You want to be an example of the company that you are trying to run. And it goes back to, okay, let me train myself. Let me train my work ethic, my character. Let me start doing stuff of what I'm going to have to do according to where I'm trying to go.
Right.
And I think that's very key. You have to keep your eyes on the prize.
Right.
While you are trying to work out those things and maybe you don't even understand your end goal, but this is not where you're trying to be, and you're trying to be at a greater level. You're trying to go that you want to find success better than where you are right now. Then of course, how are you going to get there?
Right.
You're going to get there by being lazy and lackadaisical. You got to work and make sure that you are filtering those things out.
Right.
Yeah, so y'all have been taking all my points.
Wow.
all
Go for it.
All podcasts. But I guess another perspective is people lack that work ethic because there's so many ways to make quick money. When I was growing up, we didn't know nothing about these scams that's going on.
Right.
And just all the little quick ways to make money. We had to work. And my dad instilled, closed mouths don't get fed. But now it's so easy to just get on an app and,
it's true,
make quick money. People don't want to go in to work or have purpose or think about longevity because why I got to do that when I can easily just call up my friend and make $10,000 in 2 days. Why would I waste time?
Right.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna be mad if I gotta go in, clock in when my friends at home chilling, relaxed, and making money, and I'm out here.
So let me ask you about that. So I know there's lots of ways that people make money like that, but are those sustainable ways to keep people who do that kind of job? Because I don't know a lot about that or I know the PPP loans, people was doing that kind of stuff, making money off of that. But then you see people going to jail for that. Like one of the guys from like Pretty Ricky just got out of jail recently. I saw that on social media. Yeah, he was in jail for a PPP loan, like some scam he had going on.
Like, people are crazy.
Right, but I know there are some, like, you can go sell blood, like you can go Uber and all of that stuff, but that's still work, obviously. But like the quick ways that you're talking about are those things that are legal that they're not going to ever have issues with later. Because in my heart, and it may be my opinion or whatever, I feel like quick $10,000 in 2 days is not something that's legal. Like,
absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and so then you do create that where people are doing that, but then what happens 6 months from now?
Right.
When you now can no longer that's tapped out. You know, like these Ponzi schemes where it's like, I get 10 people to donate this amount of money or whatever, and then it's like, okay, but somebody at the end is not gonna get 10 people. Like, you get 10 people to give you some money, and then your 10 people, the pyramid scams. Yeah. And it comes around every year, the little circles.
She said pyramid scams. Like, some of these are legit businesses.
I know they're legit, but
Pyramid
I'm saying, but there's
scheme.
always somebody at the end who doesn't reap. Like, you know what I'm saying? It comes around every like 10 years, 5 years, where you'll see like this the circle. This is the flower bloom or the flower wheel or whatever. And it's like, I get 10 people, right? Or I get 3 people, and then my 3 people get 3 people. But eventually you see it trail off. Always. It always happens. It always dies down because somebody didn't get their 3 people.
Right. And so let me say something with that real quick, because I've actually done some pyramid schemes before. But here's the thing, I've made great money. Like, they work. And so let me speak to it, because who it's not going to work for is the person we're talking about right now.
Right, the lazy
because
person.
I'm going to grind.
Right.
I'm going to get my
Get my
3
people.
people.
Right.
And then, yo, bro, like, it's like, it comes down to, do you have what it takes to start? Because you're really building your own business.
Right.
That's what a pyramid scheme is. And so if you don't have what it takes to build your own business, you're not going to make money.
Right.
But if you know how to lead people, you know how to manage operation, and you know how to say, hey, y'all, we're going to get this deadline, actually. Make sure you have your 3 people within 60 days. If you're having trouble, reach out to me in 30 days. I'm going to actually follow up with you in 30 days to see how many people you've like. If you can't line that up, you're not going to win. You're not going to make money. But if you can, and you have the time to devote to it, you're going to climb up to the top. And so the people that don't end up making that money are those people who think I'm going to just find 3 people. And then I'm going to say, all
I
right,
couldn't
hope
do
y'all
it.
find
I
3.
couldn't either.
I couldn't do it.
Because I'm not
going to ask nobody.
No, I'm not.
So
I'm not doing that.
So here's the thing. I have a story on both, not a story, but something quick on both sides, because I didn't really. I walked into it. Let me say with this. I walked into it with the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna get 3 people, or I don't remember how many people it was. I'm gonna get 3 people and then let them get 3 people. And so very soon, realized and found out, if I'm not getting on my 3 people's back to get their 3 people, they may or may not get their 3 people. And so going into that and doing that, I then realized very fast, I now have to be a manager. I'm now managing these
hard
3
work.
people.
Still have to
hard
work. Right.
And so did it. They got, I just spit.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Did it. They got their people. Boom. Started finding this process of how it works to get these people. And we did really good at what this pyramid scheme was. But it really,
Why you call it a scheme? You keep calling it a scheme.
That's what it's called, a pyramid scheme. That's why I called you out for calling it a scam.
Oh.
It's a pyramid scheme.
See, I look at scheme as a bad word. Not bad, but like a negative connotation. I look at scheme like what you scheming on? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I
Like
see
that's
what you're
how.
saying.
Yeah, I look at scheme
Yeah.
like a
Pull
bad
up
thing
Webster.
too.
What does it mean?
Webster.
Yeah, what does it say? Everyone's pulling it up.
Pull it up. We're gonna
I've
see
never
what's
done the
thing.
pyramid thing. It
But,
never
so,
worked for
as
me.
As somebody's looking up Webster, I just want to end this saying this is I ended up I don't do pyramid schemes anymore. I have a great job. Anywho, but I didn't want to do that anymore. Like, I didn't want to manage people in that way.
Right.
But could I have done it and continue to do it? Yeah, because I knew and I connected my
So do you consider that easy, quick money?
yeah, if you, but so it depends on what you mean with easy, because the work is difficult in a sense to get your people managed.
Yeah, so my question would be like, Okay, you have a different job now, right?
I still want to know what scheme means.
He looked it up.
So
Okay.
here's what scheme means: a large-scale systematic plan or arrangement for attaining a particular object or putting a particular idea into effect.
Has
Okay,
nothing to do with being bad.
No, I know, but in my head, because
It
people
just-
say scheme like it's a
yeah.
bad thing. In my head,
Sounds
that's what it
sneaky.
sounds sneaky.
I'm the
Yes.
smart one if y'all haven't learned that
Oh,
yet.
Lord.
So
Anyway.
Anyways, what I'm about to say is you have a job now, right? So this is back to Kia's comment about people that don't want to work because there's so many quick ways to make money, right? And so what you said, it is a quick way to make money. And so my question is, you have a different job now, and would you equate the work that you do now as harder than the work you did in that business, in that pyramid scheme? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just as hard or just as time consuming or just as, you know what I'm saying? That you would consider it a job. You know what I mean?
and that's something you just said, a key point right there. It's like a lot of people will go into a pyramid scheme not looking at it as a job.
Right.
It's how can I make this quick cash?
money.
Right.
And so that's the difference. But to answer your question, no, I wouldn't say it's harder, but there's different perspectives as far as, do I have a team? Do I have values? Do I have things that are built within them? And again, I guess at the end of the day, you can, not even I guess, you can build that with anything. And so I think that's where it comes down to the point of, I tell people this all the time. If you hire me, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm going to do great at my job.
Right.
Come on.
Because of who I know I am
you-
and
Right.
what I have in me. And so
Right.
I can do anything
Right.
because I know work ethic. I know how to
Right.
work. I know I've had these principles instilled in me, which goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast. I know how to take what I have and apply it to whatever I'm doing. Not boasting on myself or whatever the case is, but started entry level at the job that I'm at right now and have been promoted multiple times in a very, very, very small amount of time. And so saying all that to say, not like pat me on the back, but if you want it, go get it.
Right.
If you want it, go get it. You have to apply yourself to actually do that. And so that's why I say it comes down to, I'm so done. Can you lead people, and
Right.
can you manage a process? Can you manage little, and this is starting to get biblical, but can you manage little to then gain a lot?
Right. But I think that goes back to what Dre was talking about as far as having purpose or knowing what your end goal is. And like you said, it may not be in this particular zone, but I think people lack the strategic planning of their jobs and careers.
Yes.
And they'll just take whatever's paying them. But
That
for
was
me, I she said that's me.
That was me.
That was me. And I did that too. Well, I did that after my husband passed away. I was on a path prior to his passing, and he passed away. And I just needed to make money. And I ended up working for Coca-Cola for 4 years. Thank God for that. But it wasn't really in my career path in what I wanted to do. And so I had made a strategic move from there to where I'm at now because it's more in line. And one of the things that I not regret, but the years prior to my husband's passing, I'm like, dang, I should have been working in jobs that were more in line. That wasn't in a career prior to his passing. I was in a job, right? But it was the things I did before weren't in line for my career path of where I wanted to, where I saw myself as a career. There's a difference between a job and a career. Like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do for a long term is a career, is what I consider. Jobs are something that I just gonna get a check. And so I tell associates all the time, it's so important that you strategically plan the jobs you take. You know, even the little 9-to-5 jobs you take just to make ends meet until while I'm in college. Why not try to get a job? And I know it's difficult, and I'm not talking about, you know, just walking up and getting the job that fits you best. I know
Right.
that there is a lot that goes into
Yeah.
why people take just jobs and not. But if you never start planning and you never start thinking about things from a strategic standpoint as far as it relates to what's next. Okay, I have this little job at Taco Bell or Dollar Tree right now because I have to pay my bills for while I'm in school or whatever, you know, my kids, whatever, daycare. what's next?
Right.
Is this forever? If it's not forever, what's next? And I'm not going to leave this job until I find what's next that's better.
Right.
Not just leaving it to go $5 more, right? I'm leaving it to go what's next that's going to be my next until it's my career. Like, I think people don't do a great job of strategically planning out college jobs, college internships, after, and those who don't go to college, after high school, what am I going to do that's going to be career-wise? What do I want to do? And that's what you talked about, knowing yourself. And I think people don't know themselves, which means you can't take pride in yourselves. You don't realize that you represent your family. And when you say that, people are thinking, well, they don't know my family. But I'm looking at you and I'm making a judgment off of your family.
Right.
And while we talk about not caring what people think about us because this is who we are, it does, in the workplace, it does matter.
Right.
It does matter, like, what people think about you, because that's going to impact promotions, that's going to impact recognition, that's going to impact bonuses, that's going to impact opportunities for programs and different things. And I think, like, not knowing that you represent your family, meaning that you kind of have to judge. Like, I'm assuming that you weren't raised right. And it's like, well, dang, if I ever meet your mama, I'm going to think you wasn't raised right. And she's like, I did raise him right. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think not knowing yourself, you can't take pride in yourself. You don't recognize you represent your family. So then you don't brush your teeth or whatever the case is. You don't work hard. You're sitting here, you're assigned this job. That job is done. You're not going out and looking for more. You're not seeking more. I think that's a part of that. Plus the culture that we're in with the generation of kids who just feel like they should just get whatever because they see everyone getting whatever. It just creates this monster that we're in. And I think it's grown-ups too. Like, we're all subject to the same kind of feeling of making sure we maintain our reality of where we are, you know?
No, 100%. Paul told Timothy, Timothy was a leader at the time, which that's very important. Understand that you are a leader. You might not be in a leadership position, but you are a leader at the end of the day. Somebody look up to you.
Just so y'all know, too, Paul and Timothy are in the Bible.
Right.
He's talking about the Bible.
I was going to get there.
Like, who is Paul?
Right.
I thought he was talking about Paul for real. I was like,
Paul who?
right.
But yes, absolutely. For those that don't understand, that's why I was kind of explaining the character. So Timothy was a leader in the Bible, and he was a leader over a church. Now, he's in a leadership position, but Paul is writing a letter to Timothy and pretty much being his mentor at the time, covering him throughout the process. He actually looked at Timothy as like a spiritual son. And so he told Timothy, he said, I want you to live above reproach. That has everything to do with your witness. It has everything to do with how people view you. So although you might be thinking in your head, like, man, like, I don't care what people think about me. Like, I'm going to do me.
Right.
But at the same time, you are a leader, and somebody is looking up to you, and they're going to pattern their life like according to what they see you do, because they like what you look like. They like your style. They like something about you that they're saying, you know what, I want that. And if you are showing poor leadership, you are showing poor work ethic, then what you're doing is you're saying this is okay.
Yeah.
And so, I encourage you to look deep within yourself. Look at yourself and be like, you know what? Is this showing great leadership?
Yeah.
Like, do I want to pour this type of leadership into my kids?
Right.
Do I want to show the next generation, like, this is how you work? This is how you do your job. This is how, we do things around here in this generation. Because what you're doing is one generation teaches the next generation, and we are going to constantly be on a decline when it comes to the morals and values and what people view as work ethic and leadership and vision and drive and passion.
Yeah.
You are showing those, like. And it's so crazy is because literally when you talk to kids or when you talk to teenagers or even when you talk to millennials or wherever the case may be, everybody wants to be successful. I don't know one person that don't want to be successful.
Right.
And so, but I struggle with what you're saying according to what you actually doing, because it's like, do you really want success, or are you just saying that? Because if you really want success, do you not understand what it takes for you to actually obtain that success?
That's probably it. They don't know what it takes. That's probably it right there.
Right. And the issue goes back to, again, whoever told you.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoever told you what success looks like.
Right.
Or are you getting this off of what you see on Instagram?
Right.
Literally.
Like, are you getting this off of what you see on social media? And so we're about to go into closing thoughts real quick because, yeah. But so I'm going to start. Because
You are?
it's going into
okay.
it's going into what I was about to say. So it's not like I was about to say kids, but it's not just kids.
No, it's not.
It's adults too.
Yeah.
It's people in general. Yo, and this will be a whole separate podcast too,
Yeah.
because I have perspective about social media. A lot of it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not on there super heavy. I know for things that I'm doing like podcasts and stuff, I have to be on there, and they're like social media really, to be honest, runs the world right now. It does. And so you have to be on there for certain reasons. But so many people take their cues for life from social media, and that is not okay.
No.
It's not okay. That's why the world is suffering how the world is suffering now. So many people are looking at one snapshot picture of 1 second of someone's life and saying, I want to look like that. You don't know what happened 10 seconds before that picture or 10 seconds after that picture. Like, you don't understand. You see a snapshot in time. And so stop taking your cues from social media. Get under somebody who is going to develop you to have values, to have principles, to have standards. Have standards. And if you're a parent or a mentor or whoever you are, if you have somebody under you, teach them values, teach them principles, teach them what?
I said, I'm going to go next. She said, dang it. I said,
done.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, teach them. People need it. Young people need it. Adults still need it too, because it stemmed from years ago. But the generation now will literally end up just like the generation growing up now will end up just like the adults that are coming into the world right now if something doesn't change and something isn't altered.
Right.
That's so good. I mean, just to piggyback off what you said, Marcus, literally it matters who you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
Growing, like, from little to big, it's so important who you surround yourself with, because it builds character, it builds how you view the world, it builds, your eagerness to want to be successful. I mean, I'm so thankful for you guys, because it has literally changed a lot of things about how I look at myself when it comes to the workplace. And so having a rock solid, good surrounding of group of people and friends, it matters.
Yeah. Absolutely. My closing thoughts are very similar to what they talked about. One of the things that people will often say is, no one taught me. I didn't know. And so you have to go seek out your own development.
Yes.
You have to go seek out your own development, because the only thing stopping you from getting where you want to go is you.
Yes.
That is the only thing. There's no race.
Preaching.
There's no color. There's no age. There's no disability. There's nothing that stops people from just look at the snapshot that we see of people around the world. There are people who are blind who are successful. There are people who have no arms and no legs who are on Olympic teams, right?
Wow.
They worked hard to get there. And it may not have been the people that were in their lives, their mom and dad, who helped them get there. They had to go seek out a coach. They had to go look at a boss. They had to watch someone's example to help them get where they wanted to go. And so Kia just said, closed mouths don't get fed. And what I will always say is evaluate yourself and the things that you're lacking on, the things that you see gaps and areas of space that, oh, maybe I don't have this down, or he dresses better than me and I want to learn how he dresses, or he sounds smarter than me, or she works harder than me, or she's promoted through the years and I want to get there. Go find that person.
Right.
Go walk up to that person that you've been watching time over time. Not somebody on social media that you have no clue who they are. People in your life, at your job, at your church, in your family that you have access to. Reach out to that person and say, hey, I've been sucking at life over the last 5 years. I've been stuck. I've been stagnant. I don't see a way. I don't understand a plan. I can't put a plan together. I need help to get where I want to be. And 9 times out of 10, the people that you're looking at that are successful or that are where you want to be will reach back. And if they say no, go to the next person.
Right.
Don't stop.
Yes.
Go to the next person and keep going until you've reached everybody that you know. Like, you are the only reason why you are not successful. No felony, no situation. Like, I mean, we've all seen it all.
Yep.
Of people in our lives that are close to us who have had so many barriers that are successful.
Yep.
And so that's my closing
good.
statement.
Well, I mean, she said all the great things because that's kind of where I was going to go as well. But let me just jump on the spiritual side for those that are believers and
Right.
Christians that feel lost right now, that feel inadequate, that feels like, you know what, I don't even know what my purpose is. I don't know what my end goal is.
Right.
And there's no drive, there's no passion. I have one word for you: prayer. Prayer is powerful, you guys.
Yeah.
You have to get back to the foundation of your Christian faith and cry out to God and say, God, please renew my mind. Please open my eyes. Please open my ears. Please, God, reveal yourself to me. Let me see your goodness. Let me see your favor on my life, because right now I don't have it all together. Right now, I don't even understand why I'm here.
Right.
Because I've been through so much. I've been going through so much. I've been through so much in my childhood. I have childhood trauma. I don't feel inadequate. I feel like I'm grieving right now because I feel dead in this life. And it's like God is saying, if you can just spend some time with me.
Yeah.
You can just spend some time with me. I will show you who you are.
Come on,
I will
Dre.
give you your identity.
Yeah.
I will show you that you are more than a conqueror. I would show you that you are the person I am choosing today to do something great in this world. And I just
Right.
want to encourage you, yes, you that's listening, that's
Right.
looking at me right now. You have power within inside of you,
Yeah.
and God wants to unlock you. God is saying to you right now, if you would just spend time with me, if you will create space for me, I will show you my glory through you, around you, and upon you. And
Right.
all you have to do is trust me.
Yeah.
And I promise you, when you go back to work, when you're dealing with that boss you don't like, when you're dealing with the friends that's around you that you're saying, you know what, man, I just feel out of place right now. I know that they my friend because, you know, we just grew up
Right.
together, but I just feel something different right now. And I feel like I need to move on from this friendship. I guarantee you God will give you the boldness, the
Yeah.
tenacity to move forward, because there is need of you,
Yes.
especially in a time like this.
Right.
You have value.
Yep.
You have identity, and the identity comes through Christ, not the world, not the culture, and that's a whole
Right.
nother podcast. But I do want to just let you know that prayer is essential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is essential. You will literally feel the presence of God descend over your life to where you become a totally transformed person.
Yeah.
Literally, he will convert you to somebody new, and you will never again have that lack of drive and that lack of clarity in your life.
Right.
So I want to encourage you, pray.
Right.
Pray, pray, pray.
That's good.
That was
good.
good.
Hey.
Wow.
Listen.
Real good.
That was-
real good. Come on. That degree paid off, boy.
Yes.
That's my man.
That's her man. That's her man,
Plug in.
Pastor Dre. Hey, and I just want to say on top of what he said, if you don't know how to pray, it's not like magic. It's not something like
man.
super huge.
Right.
I mean, start with saying, God, I trust you. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm just going to spend these 5 minutes with you to start and just show yourself to me, reveal stuff to me, and let me hear you, let me feel you, and let me know you.
Right.
Start there.
Start
You
there.
can literally start there. It doesn't have to be the perfect words. It doesn't have to sound a certain way. Just,
Right.
just
Yeah.
pray.
Just talk to him.
Just talk.
Yeah.
One of our guest pastors, and I know we're supposed to be closing. A guest pastor came to our church and said, "Just tell God, I'm here. Enjoy my presence." God is excited to spend time with us. He's excited when we want to spend time with Him.
Yes.
And so, like Marcus said, you may not always know what to say, and sometimes you don't got to say nothing. Just sit and think about God's goodness and God's love for you,
Yeah.
and things will start to change and evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And that's probably have a whole nother discussion about this later, because that was a good.
That
brother
was.
he
We
just
write
sparked.
that- write
He
that
just sparked
down.
another.
Hey,
Woo! He just shifted the whole room,
Right.
the atmosphere. Oh,
Did we write
man,
that
I
down?
want to see my people free,
Girl,
man.
we're
Yeah.
recording it. What you mean?
Oh yeah.
what she said?
She said, did we write
I
that
am
down?
dead.
Did we
This
write
is how
that
you
down?
know this is just all like we forgot the cameras are running at this point.
She said, "Write it down."
Did we write that down?
Did we write like we can't do the playback?
Right. That's
Oh
good.
my gosh. But yeah, so hey, we're about to jump off here, y'all. Thank y'all again to
Thank
our
y'all.
followers, our supporters, subscribers. Please follow our pages, IG, Facebook, TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure ring the bell for
Ding, ding,
alerts.
ding,
ring
ding,
the
ding,
bell,
ding,
ring the
ding.
bell, ring the bell.
We're
This-
gonna get some bells. I want us to
can't.
get some
Okay.
bells.
Oh,
That's-
I don't
that's
know if we
the
want to
bell
have
dance.
bells. She said she wants to have bells
I
to
could,
ring.
I could just be the one to ring it. Ding,
Oh
ding,
my
ding.
gosh. You just find some socks for next episode. But yeah, ring the bell, get alerts. We love y'all. Appreciate
Yes.
y'all so much. Can't wait to go live with y'all
Yeah,
and kind
go
of chat
live
through
with y'all,
this
yes.
Yes.
again. So yeah, we love y'all. That's all I got to say.
Until next time, y'all. That's the T where who are we?
Bam.
Holla.
Love y'all.
That's it.